Like many, I've been working from home for the past 2 weeks, and I don't know about you, but I know how hard it can be working from home and trying to be productive. So here are 7 productivity hacks that I use and that you can also use to be productive at home. The first thing I do is really simple. I don't touch my phone for the first hour of each day. I know many of us use our phones as an alarm, so as soon as that alarm goes off, we tend to check our notifications and we tend to check social media. So straight away you've thrown yourself into the chaos and you're letting other people and external factors control your morning instead of you. So my suggestion here is to buy yourself an alarm clock or just simply leave your phone in another room before you go to bed. The second thing I do is I prioritize my tasks. Now this sounds simple, but it's very important. So what I do every morning is I write a big list of what I need to get done for the day, and then I cull it down to 2 or 3 really important tasks, and I add those to my to-do list. So instead of creating and setting yourself a big to-do list, I focus on a couple of important things and I make sure I get them done before anything else. So what I'm doing here is removing what's unimportant and replacing it with what is important. And what I've noticed from doing this is I actually get more done, and it's pretty simple. I now look at this list as a motivator instead of a chore. So the third thing I do is time blocking. So I set myself time in my calendar for specific tasks. I know how easy it can be to do urgent tasks that suddenly pop up throughout the day. So what I've done is I set specific times of the day for specific tasks. For example, between 7 and 9 AM, I do my most important work tasks. So I lock my phone away and I sit there and I focus entirely on work-related tasks. What I've noticed by time blocking is I actually get those tasks done because I'm entirely focused on the work at hand and I've got no distractions. Now, if you haven't tried this already, get your hands on a habit tracking app. I use an app called Loop, and what that does is it gets you to list your most important habits and basically tick them off each day. Now, there are other options like Habitica, which basically turns habit tracking into a video game, but if you want something simple, try Loop or Momentum. The thing I find most useful with these sort of apps is that feeling of marking something off when it gets done. And by marking it off, it actually begins to create a streak that I don't want to break, sort of like Snapchat. A wise man once said, what gets measured gets managed. Now the fifth thing I do, and is one of my highest priorities, is exercise. I know when we're ambitious, we tend to focus all of our time on studying or working instead of exercising. But research has actually shown that exercise is good for your mood, for your thinking, and for your learning. So my number one tip here, and what I did when I first started exercising, was I set small goals and I didn't bite off more than I could chew. When we first set ourselves a goal, we usually have a huge wave of motivation. That motivation carries us through the first week. When we hit weeks 2 and 3, stress and obstacles tend to come up, and that's when self-discipline is really put to the test. What I did was I set myself a goal that was easy enough to do during my busy schedule, but just outside of my capabilities to give me that push. And what that did was it actually made the goal obtainable, but it was also doable when I was super busy. Now the other thing that's worth mentioning is working out with a friend. When I was first trying to build the habit of going to the gym, I'd meet my friend at the gym at the same time every morning. And there are a number of mornings where I didn't want to go, but I would go anyway simply because he was there waiting for me. So grab yourself an accountability partner and work yourself out with a friend. Another thing I did was I disabled all of my notifications. Without thinking, I left them on and they'd just pile up notification after notification, and those little red numbers would show up on each app. So what I did recently was I turned off all of my notifications except for phone calls, texts, and my alarm clock. So I've been doing this for about a month now, and since then my phone no longer goes off every 5 minutes and I can actually focus on the task at hand. Now finally, if you're working from home and you're finding it difficult to be productive, one of the things that I did was I created a space specifically for working. At first I tried working from my bedroom, but it was hard to separate the mental barrier and separate what was work and what was play. So what I did was I set up a specific area for working, and all I do in that area is work. So by setting up a workspace, it actually tricked my brain. So whenever I jumped into the working space, my brain was tricked and got triggered into work zone. And whenever I sat in that spot, I got in the zone and I got things done. So, I hope you found these tips as useful as I'm currently finding them. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you like these videos in general, consider subscribing. That's it for now. I'll see you in the next one.